Above the EQ and below the dynamic sections of the input channel, you will see insert points A and B. Only one of these can be used at a time, but you can choose the position in the signal path that you require. To route a channel signal to an internal or external processor using an insert point, you just need to touch the insert point on the screen and the Channel Outputs panel will open. You can then select which insert you want to route at the bottom of the panel and press the Insert Send button to open the routing panel. You will see the standard routing pop up, but if you are routing to an internal processor such as a graphic EQ, you should press the Send and Return button before actually selecting a route. This means that selecting a send to, say, graphic EQ1 will automatically make the return route from graphic EQ1. Then, all you need to do is to switch the insert on using the Insert A button on the work surface to the right of the screen. Inserts can also be ripple routed in the same way as channel inputs. Beneath the EQ section, you'll see the channel dynamics. This consists of a compressor and a gate, but on up to 8 channels, the compressor can be used in multiband mode with 3 adjustable bands of compression and a gate. Basic dynamics controls are in the normal place next to the screen, but if you touch the dynamics area on screen, the panel will expand. You now have control of the dynamics settings with the under-screen rotary encoders and switches. You'll find all the standard compressor controls here, but also an auto gain function that will automatically adjust the output gain according to the setting of the threshold control. The gate controls include a side chain filter with frequency and width to fine-tune the signal that is triggering the gate, and a key input option to use a separate source to independently trigger the gate. Pressing the multiband button will expand the panel to include 3 bands of compression. Each of these can work independently to allow very precise processing of different elements of the signal. The crossover frequency controls determine the bands that will be affected. The All On button is the on-screen equivalent of the work surface Comp On button. Continuing on down the channel, the next section is the auxiliaries. The number of these that you have is determined by the structure of the session, which is covered in the Getting Started section of this tutorial. On the work surface, you will see up and down scroll buttons to the bottom left of the screen that allow you to navigate through the different AUXs, and then you just need to press the Quick Select button for AUX and touch the AUX that you want to adjust on the screen. The rotary encoder and switch below the screen are now the AUX level and on-off switch. Stereo AUXs also have an AUX pan control, and this can be adjusted by switching on second function and using the under-screen control as before. With second function active, the under-screen switch allows you to change the AUX send from pre to pre-mute or post-fader mode. There is also an option on the master screen Options Solo tab that allows the faders to be used as controls for the AUX sends. With this option on, soloing an AUX master will automatically allow fader control for the related AUX sends. The bottom section of the channel contains the pan and the output routing controls. To adjust a pan, you just press the Quick Select Pan button next to the screen and the under-screen controls become pans. The switch is a pan reset button to quickly go hard left, center, or right. If you are using an LCR master bus, this is also where you can adjust the blend of center signal that you need. Minimum blend means that the signal will only go to the left and right outputs, and maximum means that the signal can be sent to only the center output as required. This blend control is another one that needs the second function button to be pressed, and then you just use the normal pan control to adjust it. You have already seen the channel outputs panel when we looked at the insert points, but touching the bottom of the input channel is another way to open it. Here, you have the group routing buttons divided into mono, stereo, and LCR sections, and a direct output button that opens a routing panel for the output of the channel. Once a route has been selected, this output can be switched on or off, adjusted for level, and switched pre- or post-fader. If the selected rack output has a pad function available, it can be switched on here. Ripple routing is also available in the normal way. That's all of the controls on the input channel screen, so let's move on to the LCD button functions that allow you to do a number of other things with the multi-purpose channel select buttons and displays just above the faders. If you press one of the LCD function buttons on either side of the console, you will see the displays on that console section change to show you the functions available. The first of these is Solo, and this is actually the button that you would use to take this section back to standard operation mode. The silver buttons are, of course, normally solo buttons. The second function is Solo Choice, and pressing this will then allow you to select whether this channel will send to Solo Bus 1, Solo Bus 2, or both together. Each press of the Channel Select button will change the option as you will see in the display. As you have already seen, this particular option is also available in the Channel Setup panel. To return to the LCD functions again, just press the LCD function button once. The third button is used to create gangs. A gang is just a selection of channels from the same console section that are linked to each other, so that anything you do to one of the gang members is also applied to the others. That doesn't mean that all the gang members must always be the same. You can introduce offsets between them and have any changes that are made to one of them apply relatively to the others. So, if you start with the fader of one gang member at -10 dB and another at 0 dB, and then apply a 5 dB boost to one of them, they will both move and end up at -5 dB and +5 dB. To introduce an offset, you can temporarily isolate the gang members from each other by pressing the Work Surface Option button, and the controls can now be adjusted independently. Pressing the Option button again activates the gang again. This linking applies to all the channel controls except the phase switch, the phantom power switch, panning, and input and output routing. To gang channels together, you just press the gang button, and then select the members of the gang by pressing their channel select buttons. Then press the LCD function button again to return to the LCD button options. But remember that you can only gang channels together if they are in the same section of the console, the left or the right. The next LCD function is Join CG, but this can only be used if you are in a control group bank. If you press this button on a control group channel, you can then press a channel select button to choose which control group you wish to join. At this point, all of the other input and output channels on the console will show the control group's number in their channel display. Pressing any of the channel select buttons will join it to the control group that you first selected. There are other ways to create control groups, so please take a look at the master screen section of this tutorial for more information. We then come on to the Assign Faders function. Although the SD9 normally has a standard layout with all the different types of channel in banks on the work surface, you can move these channels around so that they appear in any combination anywhere. You can even have the same channel appearing several times in different places on the console. If, for example, you wanted to put all the various elements of a drum kit, including its reverb sends, returns, and control group in the same bank, you could use Assign Faders to do that. From the LCD function options, press Assign Faders and then press a channel select button to choose which fader you want to assign. Now switch to the master screen and open the channel list from the layout menu. Here, you'll see a full list of all the channels on the console. There is a section for each type of channel, so press the down arrow on the section that you need and then press the entry for the fader that you want to assign to the work surface. If you now go back to your original bank, you will see that a new channel has appeared and the previous one has been removed. The channel that has been removed will now show as unassigned in the channel list unless it was already somewhere else on the surface as well. You can also assign a number of faders at the same time by pressing several channels select buttons and then choosing the first one that you want to assign from the channel list. If you want to clear channels to make space for other ones, or maybe you just want a few specific faders in one bank, you can use the Unassign Faders function. All you need to do here is to press the Unassign Faders button and then press the Select button for the channel that you want to clear. You will then see the screen channel strip go grey. Be careful with this one because even though the channel is no longer on the surface, it could still be passing audio. You may want to reassign it somewhere else or stop it passing audio before unassigning it in the first place. To copy a bank to another location, select the bank that you want to copy and then press the LCD function named Copy Bank To. Now press the bank button for the destination and you will then have two copies of the same bank. To copy a bank from a different location, select the destination bank and then press the LCD function named Copy Bank From. Now press the bank button for the source of the copy and once again you will have two copies of the same bank. You can also use the master screen channel list to select the first channel in the new bank. This is useful if you have accidentally removed a bank from the work surface completely and want to get it back. Finally, to clear one of the copied banks, select the one that you want to clear and then press the Clear Bank function. You will be prompted to confirm by pressing the Yes button and that bank will then be emptied of its channels.